Okay, for all that are here, thank you for attending. We're going to give it about a minute or so for people that are still getting on. So let's give us a minute, and then we'll get started. All right, I think we're ready. We'll get started. First of all, I want to thank everybody, our Diamond Channel partners, for attending today. Welcome to our inaugural live webinar training exclusive to our Diamond partners. For those of you who don't know me, who I haven't had the pleasure to work with, my name is Dennis Ostrowski. I am the product marketing specialist for Gems Setra. We also have Julie with us. She'll be our facilitator. She'll be fielding your questions, which we will answer at the end, best we can. Also listening in, we have Andy Sinkowitz. He's our new Valve and Flow product manager. This webinar will be available on demand. So if anybody in your group misses it, we will have this available as an on-demand link. You'll receive an email with that link soon. Okay. Well, welcome to the XFT series Clamp-On Ultrasonic Flow Meter webinar. It's training for basically an introduction. We'll give you some applications, the functionality, the operating principle, and some other tidbits along the way. Next slide. Okay. The reason that we are launching this new product is because of the challenges that you will often see with traditional flow meters. Traditional flow meters are the ones that are actually in line in the pipe. You have to cut into a pipe. It also, when you have any instrument that's in line in a pipe, it causes a pressure drop. You have mechanical parts that could wear. Sometimes the media has to be pure or it has to be potable, in which case then you have to have parts in your device that are compliant with that. That could be expensive and hard to come by. The Clamp-On ultrasonic flow meter mitigates many of those problems, right? You've got clamp-on outside of the pipe, no contact, so you don't have to worry about contamination. You don't have to worry about corrosion. You don't have to worry about those pressure drops. So very simple installation, clamp it onto the pipe and read your flow and temperature from outside of the media. Next slide. Okay. The functionality, okay, it has multifunctional measurement. It simultaneously measures both flow and temperature, provides real-time flow data and temperature data, as well as cumulative flow data. It does this, the real-time, via a 4 to 20 milliamp output that gives you real-time flow rate and pipe wall temperature. The cumulative data, you can program the device so that could be on the display, and that data can also be transmitted via Modbus. Now, not everybody has Modbus, and it's not required to use it, but it is available as an added benefit to talk with your building automation system. Modbus gateways can be used too to convert that to Ethernet or BACnet so that you can support whatever protocol you are using. The Modbus RTU enables customization of the key parameters like pipe diameter, wall thickness, the pipe material, sound speed, damping coefficient, and flow compensation. Now, sound speed and damping coefficient, we'll go into that on our next slide. There's password protection too, because there are advanced calibration menus that you might not want some users to have access to. The product comes in 16 millimeter to 52 millimeter, which is 3/8 inch to 1.5 inch. You can order it for stainless steel pipes, PVC pipes, or PPR pipes. Other metals like brass, copper, and iron, you can use it with those as well. What you do in that case is you'll order the stainless steel, but then calibration might be required for accuracy. And likewise with plastics, if you have like PEX or ABS, you can order the PPR version. And again, there'd be further calibration there. Next slide. Okay, what you see here is a rudimentary image of the operating principle. You have an emitter and a receiver, upstream and downstream, and it's measuring the time of flight for the sound waves, the ultrasonic sound waves, to pass through that liquid. And then what it does is it does some math inside the device to figure out the difference between upstream and downstream travel, and that's how you get your flow rate. Different liquids have different sound speeds, right? A thicker liquid, the sound's going to travel slower than in a water-based liquid, for instance, right? That's called acoustic velocity. That value can be programmed into the device. Like I said before, you can order it for stainless steel, PVC, or PPR. However, when you program the device, it also gives you an other category. And when you do an other category, it then forces you to put in the acoustic velocity. You can find that online on Google. All of the pipe materials and all of the liquids, you can determine the acoustic velocity through those, and then change the parameters in the device itself. Flow rates are displayed in intervals. That's called a damping coefficient. 5 seconds is the default. So every 5 seconds, the display is refreshed. That's also a parameter that you can set, that time constant. The longer the times you put in, the smoother it'll read on your display, right? And it ranges from a half second when you want something more real time on the display, all the way up to 10 seconds. Okay, next slide. Okay, the ease of installation. It's got a clamp on mount. You see the two clamp halves there. You got an upper and a lower clamp. Screw those together on the pipe, and then it's 2 simple screws to put the device onto the clamp. Okay, quick installation. It really is fast. We've seen videos. We do have videos we'll be sharing at some time in the near future. And then it's got a full color LCD interface, and that interface is also rotatable in all 4 directions. So depending on where you have it and how you have it mounted on whatever pipe, you can have that display read the correct orientation. Okay, next slide. We have a representation here of what you will see on the display. You have imperial as well as metric values that can be shown, or you can do a combination of those. All of those are programmable separately in the device. Resolution you see there is to 1 decimal point. You can do whole numbers or 1 decimal point for tenths if you'd like. You can view the temperature either on the top you see there, or you could have the temperature be in the main display. You could have cumulative data be either in the top or in the main. And then also you see there the 4 to 20 milliamp progress bar at the bottom. And then the green light in the upper right corner can either be green, yellow, or red, and that's for signal strength. And of course, if you see yellow or if you see red, it's time to get in there and check the parameters to make sure that you're matching your application correctly. Okay, next slide. Okay, here's another diagram, 4-picture diagram of the simplicity of mounting this device, right? You've got a clean pipe, you've got an upper and lower pipe clamp, which is 4 screws. You've got 2 screws to mount the device, and then you've got your M12 connector to connect for your 4 to 20 milliamp output. It really is that easy. You see a little image to the left there. That is underneath the device. There are contact pads that are required. They come already inserted into the device, but if they're ever damaged or missing, they can be ordered separately. clamps as well can be ordered separately. Okay, next slide. Okay, here we see the main specifications, the pipe sizes that are supported, 3/8 through 1.5. You've got several options there. The gallons per minute, that's the maximum gallons per minute for each pipe size that's shown there. There is a minimum, obviously, as well. Like the 7.9 goes from like a 1/4 gallon per minute to 7.9, all the way up to the 1.5, which is anywhere from 10.5 gallons per minute up to 105.7. The liquid medias that are supported, obviously, I don't know that it really matters. As long as you know the acoustic velocity, you can look that up online, you can measure any fluid in that pipe, right? You do program that into the device, just like the pipe material. You'll do water-based, oil-based, or other. And again, when you do other, you'll have to put that sound velocity in yourself and possibly some calibration. The accuracy is typically plus or minus 2% of full scale. You can see a max of plus or minus 3, but typically you're seeing plus or minus 2%, which is right there with all the competition. The fluid temperature range it supports is 32 degrees F up to 140. And the temp accuracy is plus or minus 2 degrees C, and that is pipe wall. So if you want actual fluid temperature, you're going to have your building automation system or your controller or something do that math for you. Okay, next slide. Okay, some more specifications. The supply voltage that it supports is anywhere from 12 to 30 volts DC. The output, as we have said before, is 4 to 20 milliamp, but you've also got the Modbus via RS-485. The connection on the device is a male 8-pin M12, and I've already gone over the damping times that are available. You got a 1/2 second, 1 second, 5 seconds, which is the default, or 10 seconds. The environmental specifications, ambient temperature is the same as your fluid temperature from 14 to 140, and the IP rating, the ingress protection rating, is IP66 in case of incidental splashing and the device that might get wet. The certification that it currently has is got CE, which includes RoHS, and REACH approvals. Okay, next slide. Okay, the analog output, the real time, is flow rate and temperature. The display can show, as we've shown before, flow rate, temperature, cumulative flow. You've got the signal strength in the upper right corner and the output percentage, which is directly related to the 4 to 20 output. Via Modbus, via that communication protocol, you have more ability of cumulative flow, can be actual sent in real time, and also all of the parameters for programming, including advanced calibration settings, that could all be done via the communication protocol as well. We have a list of the parameter adjustments that are available. Automatic optimization is kind of like an auto tune feature. So after you've commissioned the device, an auto tune would normally get it working. Again, there may be advanced calibration that is necessary. There are about 10 different calibration adjustments in the device so that you can fine tune it to your application to get the accuracy that you need and the consistency that you need. But you see, all those parameter adjustments are available. You don't need Modbus to do it. You can do it right there on with the keypad as well. So that's all stuff that's available at your fingertips. Next slide. Okay, dimensions, quite a small package, small footprint, little over 4 inches long, under 2 inches wide. And then the height, obviously, overall height would depend on your pipe diameter, but it only sits about, it says 1.77 inches from the top of the pipe. Next slide. Okay, how to configure the device. First of all, it's an XFT. We all know that. The first option is not an option. You automatically get the Modbus along with the 4 to 20 milliamp output. So that's all included with your first option. Then you're picking your pipe diameter, 3/8, half, 3/4, 1 inch, 1 1/4, and 1.5 inches are the choices there. The pipe material, stainless steel, PPR or PVC are available. And then your next options are forced options of the fluid temperature, and you always get the temperature readout. So those are the ways that you can configure this product. If there are other pipe materials, you can contact the factory here, and we can help you out with choosing the correct configuration, as well as how to navigate the menus in order to change the parameters that you might need to change. We're not going to have calibration assistance. We can help you navigate menus, but calibration, because each application is so unique, you know, there's no way we could take into all the variables to get it calibrated correctly for you or your customers. That's something that whoever the user is going to have to figure out based on their application and the specifics there. Okay, next slide. Next slide is a representation of the pinout. Highlights here is that you've got a 4 to 20 temperature output, you've got a 4 to 20 flow output, and then you got your Modbus communications. Okay, next slide. Okay, there's some images of the REACH and then the CE and RoHS certificates so that we're compliant for both. You also see on the left a chart with some of the functionality that was tested, high and low temp, humidity, shock and vibe, and of course the IP66 test for incidental splashing and so on. Okay, next. Okay, another round of testing that was required was for bubbles. Many applications, it's not uncommon that there will be bubbles, cavitation, foam even. All of that's going to affect the flow rate, right? Because if you have cavitation or if you have bubbles, air bubbles, or foam, that's going to change that sound velocity, right? The time of flight for the ultrasonic sound waves. So that being affected, we did extensive testing. We also did it against a competitor. Competitor is not ABC. We just left the name out to protect the innocent. But if you see in the chart on the upper right, the relative error that you see in the far right column is far better than the relative error you see in the middle column from our competitor. Now you see error rates of 10%, even up to 54%. However, keep in mind that the error can also be mitigated via advanced calibration techniques. There are also a few simple settings that can be done in the device that are designed to help stabilize the flow rate when there are bubbles present. So all of this stuff has been thought out and tested. Again, applications are unique. We don't know what we're going to get. Foam, for instance, is something that could affect. But just know that these things are usually mitigated through parameter settings and advanced calibration settings. Okay, next slide. Okay, who are some of these competitors? Keyence is a popular model, except very expensive. You'll find that the Gems XFT is highly competitive price-wise. You see it being clamp-on. You don't have to insert it for the pipe, so XFT wins there. The types of liquid media that's supported. The fact that it has temperature measurement is also something that's not offered in some of our competitors' models. The flow range is high at 400. Fluid pressure, obviously, if you're mounted inline in a pipe, pressure is going to be something that you've got to watch for. And obviously, with a clamp-on, no contact type of application here, you don't have to worry about that. The output signal 4 to 20, which is very common. No moving parts. And as you see across the board here, the XFT comes out on top in many of these categories. Okay, next slide. I'll promise you some application examples. First one we have here is in the semicon industry. Semiconductor equipment, they have primary and secondary loops. When they're using chilled water, there'll be a primary loop. The primary loop is bringing facility water through a chiller, and then that is then fed into what's called a secondary loop. That secondary loop then is going to your semiconductor equipment, right? This application, this is all real world application. You see the images here of the product actually in operation. It was installed both on the primary and secondary side. It had real-time flow data, and it was able to save them because they used variable frequency water pumps. And in monitoring in real time the flow rate, they were able to do energy saving optimization through this application. Next application. Okay, also in the semiconductor industry, the cleaning system used on wafers uses ultra pure water, or UPW. The word ultra pure, obviously you think, well, you don't want any parts coming in contact with ultra pure water. That's just not possible. That ultra pure water then is mixed with cleaning agents. This was used not only to monitor the ultra pure water coming in, but also the cleaning agents. And in monitoring both, cumulative data was required to ensure proper mixing ratio. I see that as also a possibility with food and beverage, and for other industries as well, where mixing, like chemicals, a lot of chemical companies do that. So again, another benefit of the clamp-on design does not come in contact with potable water, ultra pure water, or harsh chemicals. And then the cumulative data is used for your mixing ratios. Okay, next. Getting out of semiconductors and something more industrial, furnace equipment. It was used in furnace equipment in place of an electromagnetic. The electromagnetic, you see it in the middle picture at the top there, quite large. It probably handles higher flows, but not necessarily. It could be something under 100 gallons per minute, and you just see the size difference, right? They use it for monitoring flow and temperature simultaneously. It was for a cooling system, preventing systems from overheating, okay? Again, having it clamp on, easy maintenance, easy to install. It was really important for them to have something that had ease of use like this, whereas your electromagnetic, much harder for maintenance and to maintain that type of device in your system. Okay, and we have another application for chemicals. We had mentioned before, chemicals can be quite caustic. They could be, a lot of corrosion can happen in your equipment and in devices that are in line, right? So if you've got a clamp on, you eliminate those risks. You're not going to have any kind of contamination. You're not going to have any kind of corrosion. So it doesn't matter, as long as you know that sound velocity, right? As long as you know that of whatever chemical you're using, you can calibrate this device to measure that liquid flow. And again, this was used in chemical filling equipment. It was used in some equipment for air traffic control. And this device had to be customized. They needed set point rates. They needed like automatic set point indication at certain intervals. And our factory was able to flash that into the firmware and do a custom. So yes, customs are possible. Come to us with any questions you have on something that might need to be customized. And our team would be happy to help. Okay, next. But that's not all, right? Just covered a few of them that are live in the field right now, but we do have others. You see HVAC, water and wastewater comes to mind. Industrial process and manufacturing, data centers. Data centers I want to highlight here because a data center, no leaks, right? Leaks are a bad word. So no leaks, no pressure drops. They perform well in primary and secondary loops and in coolant distribution units. So we've already had some interest from some CDU manufacturers because of its no contact and no chance for leaks. So that is definitely a good selling point for this product in that industry. Mentioned before, the food and beverage for potable water. Finding devices with the approved materials could be a hassle, could be expensive. Pharmaceutical and life sciences uses DI water. That's, again, something a non-contact design benefits when you're using DI water. Then you see a list of applications on the right. Too many to list now, but just know that there are so many different applications that this supports. The flow ranges and the pipe sizes are right in there with many common applications. And then the features and benefits of being clamp-on, no contact, no moving parts, all of that just bodes really well for selling into many industries and many applications. Okay, next slide. Here's a list of the accessories, we'll call them, that are available. The 90-degree M12 cable that you've seen in some of the images previous, those are available in from 2 to 10 meters long. It's all the 8-pin female socket type. So those are orderable. Obviously, you could find those at many different cable manufacturers as well. Upper and lower pipe clamps are available separately of the different pipe diameters. And then also you've got the coupling pad, the one that I showed you in that image that was inserted into the back of the device. Again, that's something that you can order separately as well if yours is missing or damaged. Okay, and what you've all been waiting for, right? The XFT price, okay, base price is $560. Distributor discount is based off of that base price, right? There is a tariff surcharge when shipping into the US because this product is manufactured in China. All pipe configurations are the same price, doesn't matter what size or what pipe material. It's all going to be at that $598.60 for once shipped into the US. Lead time is 4 to 6 weeks. Now, our China team has inventory reserved for faster delivery. They have a list of part numbers that they keep on hand that are common. Anything not there, though, is still 4 to 6 weeks. You find that's a standard delivery for most products. If your desired model, if you want to check on your desired model for availability, obviously check with your rep and they'll be able to let you know. This will bring me back to that programming parameters, right? If in fact you're in a pinch and you absolutely need something, you can configure the product regardless of how it's ordered. You can configure it to suit your application, right? You can change the pipe material via programming. You can change the media type. You can change, so many different parameters, and you can actually dial it in to match your application regardless of what was ordered, right? However, that comes with a risk because if you ever reset or if something happens and the product resets, it's going to reset to its default values. Also, the part number and serial number that are recorded into the device, that never changes. That's always going to be what you originally ordered. So just keep that in mind. With that, we will open it up to any questions. I kept it to a half an hour as planned.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome, Julie.
If anyone has any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat or the questions tab. We'll give you guys a few minutes. All right, we're starting to get some come in. Apologies if I don't say this all correctly. What is the fuel vel range? VEL.
The fuel velocity range?
Maybe, yeah, it was abbreviated, sorry.
I'll have to look that up. I'm not familiar with fuel velocity. Oh, okay, so maybe what they're asking possibly is for fuels and hydrocarbons, gases, diesel, that type of stuff. What is the sound velocity for those liquids? That I don't know, but I'll bet you I could find it in about 2 minutes on Google. Google machine will give it to you immediately, no problem there. I would challenge if there were any liquids or chemicals that were not already published somewhere with that fluid velocity, right?
All right. Is the temperature configurable to Fahrenheit?
Yes, Fahrenheit or Celsius, either one. And again, that's independent of your other. If you want to see liters per minute, but you want to see Fahrenheit, that's quite doable, no problem. Those parameters are all set separately. So you're not bound to all metric or all imperial measurements. You can dial those in on an individual basis.
Awesome. Right, another question. Why are 1/4 and 2-inch not available? Keyence has those options.
Not saying that they never will be, but right now to the flow rates that can be measured with this device limited us to 3/8 through 1.5 inch. They had to make a decision on where to stop, and the commonality of the pipe sizes that we do offer was what they decided on based on, again, commonality that they found in the field in the applications and markets that we are focusing on.
All right. Will UL or CSA approvals be available?
Can't say for sure. I will never say never, but right now that isn't something that is on our radar. Again, if there are enough, if customer driven, we'll call that, right? If there are enough requests for that, that's obviously something that we would look into, right? Because if there's enough requests, it becomes worth it to go through the hoops of UL approval.
Exactly. So, obviously, if all of you are hearing requests, you're getting it all the time, or, multiple customers reaching out, or big, opportunities for it, that definitely helps with the conversation of us trying to pursue, other sizes, certain approvals, things like that. So obviously, just reach out to us, don't be shy, and, we can continue that conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. Customer driven. You are also, in a way, our customers too. We're here to help you, and we're here to provide what we can for you. If you have applications out there, if you have your customers that are reaching out with things that you're not seeing in this product as it exists now, still let us know, because that information is valuable. It might provide a roadmap on where we might take this product in the future. So your input is imperative, and we will be relying on our Diamond partners to have champions in the field that can fit applications and help their customers, and in turn help us. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear what you're doing and who with, because that'll help us moving forward too in expanding upon this product if in fact the need arises.
Thank you. Next question. What is REACH?
What is REACH? REACH is a declaration for, I believe it's a declaration for safe materials for the environment, if memory serves.
It is specifically for Europe, I believe, as well. Or
Got
at least
it.
there is an EU REACH.
Thank you. Is there a relay output in the meter?
There is not. No, that would have to be programmed into whatever control system this is tied into, right? It standalone, it will not give you any kind of discrete output at all. You can have a low flow indication, okay? It can give a low flow indication, but that's just an indication. It's just a visual. It will not give an actual output corresponding to any kind of set point. So your control system would have to be programmed from 4 to 20 milliamps. If I get to 6 milliamps, send me a signal. We do have controllers. We have our West Control product line from West that you could tie this into a controller, and that controller could have a 4 to 20 milliamp input, and then you can program into that device with relay outputs saying, hey, when it reaches 4 milliamps, 8 milliamps, 12 milliamps, I want a relay to close. You can program that into the West controllers. So if that type of application arises, talk to your assigned rep here at Gems Setra, and we'll be happy to fit you up with something that would match up with this device to give you those discrete outputs that you're looking for.
Is there a data logger in the meter?
There is not. Again, that is something else that would have to be built into your control system. And again, West Controls has data loggers. So you could take the values that are coming out of the device. Cumulative flow, remember, is only via Modbus. So you'd either need to do it via Modbus or use one of those gateways to Ethernet IP or BACnet or whatever other communication protocol you're using. Profibus, for instance, Profinet. There's gateways for everything, Modbus to anything that you want. So once you do that, you can then get further functionality via another control device. And again, our West controls, we do have data loggers. So again, reach out if the application arises and we can fit you up with something.
What about Bluetooth? Is there a Bluetooth functionality?
There is not, but we are currently looking at Bluetooth functionality in our R&D for our West controllers. That is a direction that many products are going to, right? So obviously our R&D teams are looking into that to implement that in the future. Don't know if it's going to happen to this product for sure, but that's another thing. If your customers are asking for it, let us know, because that information is very valuable, and it may in fact lead to product roadmaps for our future.
Great. Do you have a min or max velocity rating for the meter?
Do not. Do not. Just flow rates is the only min-max that's listed here. I don't think that the acoustic velocity for any liquid exceeds what's possible for this device. You could have, thick molasses running through it, as well as, super light water-based liquids, right? That the sound's going to travel much faster through. So really, the media type really is independent from, the flow rate that we can measure with this device.
Has thought been given to making this battery powered for purely local use?
Not yet, but great input. I see Andy's probably jotting all this down. So again, great input. If you're seeing in the field that this is something that is being done in remote locations, right? If it's being used in remote locations where battery power is a must, let us know about it. Again, that's all very helpful. And that's quite a customization, to be honest with you, but never say never.
Yep, please let us know if you're seeing it or getting requests for it.
All right. So I think these next two kind of overlap a little bit. What's the flow velocity minimum and the fluid velocity feet per second through the pipe?
Fluid velocity, well, the velocity of a fluid through a pipe is measured in liters per minute, gallons per minute, whatever, right? That's the actual speed that the fluid is moving through the pipe. The device measures anywhere, depending on the pipe size, down to 1/4 of a gallon per minute. That's in a 3/8 inch pipe, all the way up to 105.7 gallons per minute, but that's for a 1.5 inch pipe. So obviously the pipe diameter is going to affect the amount of flow that can go through. And that's why you've got those ranges for each pipe size being separate.
All right. So you mentioned BTU measurement. Does it have a second temperature sensor connectable as the pair of sensors is normally needed for BTU measurement?
No, this just has one. I don't know if any customization's ever been done to where it can all be done in one device. But again, the BTU measurement requires, as you said, it requires two. There would have to be a secondary temperature sensor supplied by the user and then it would work in conjunction with the XFT to calculate that in your building automation system or your controller or whatever you're using to, to operate your application.
All right, and this next one says transducer frequencies. So I'm assuming they're asking what is the transducer frequency?
Transducer frequency, that I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up and get back to you.
Okay. Is there any other diagnostic for the signal strength other than the color of the square on the top right corner?
Yes, there is. That is viewable in the device, in the parameters. You can also have it transmitted via the communication protocol. I'm actually looking right now in the menus. Display. I don't see where that's at. I know what's in here, to where you can get, find it. You can get all that information, I know, in the menu, and I know it's also transmittable via the communication protocol, via the Modbus. It's just I can't find it in because there's a lot of menu sections here. So again, that's something that I can give more detailed information on. The short answer is yes. Exactly where and how to find it, I got to keep looking.
All right, we can always follow up as well. We do have your emails associated to the questions that are asked. So anything specifically, we can reach out. All right, the next question is what % solids can we handle?
Well, that's definitely going to affect the sound velocity, right? If you have solids traveling through a pipe, that's going to interfere. That would be very hard to calibrate for, in my opinion. Don't know for sure. Again, every application is unique, but if there's enough solid going through a pipe, that's going to stop those sound waves, right? You may not get an accurate signal. Maybe some ways to mitigate that would be to put the 10-second dampening effect on it. So really, it's only going to show you every 10 seconds. Maybe you don't, you're not getting so much solids, constantly through there. If you're checking it every 1 second or half second, you may get an issue. Again, that would definitely require advanced calibration. And it's really kind of a try it and see. A lot of this is try it and see because there are so many variables. And that's why there are so many, like I said, there's a 10 different calibration settings, M factor, K factor, 0 offset, 2-point offset. There are tons of things that you can do in there to dial it into your specific, requirements. But again, it's going to be a try it and see. You're going to have to get one, try it out, see if it works in that application, see if it can be dialed in using all of the calibration settings that are offered.
Great. So what's the difference between the dark gray clamp and the light gray clamps? Are they just older photos?
Yes, older
Okay.
photos. Yeah, one was, this had, we rolled out this product and then we improved it and rolled it out again, in our R&D. And the newest clamps are the light colored clamps. We may have dark ones. If you get dark ones, we may have had some left over, but I think they're all light now.
Are there any plans for North American electrical approvals, UL, CSA?
Again, very possibly, as Andy had said before, that's very valuable information. And if we hear enough feedback in the field that this is something that's a must-have, we will be addressing that, obviously.
Yeah, it's basically is not having that stopping you or stopping, your customer from wanting to use it. Like that's the information that we're definitely looking for.
Okay. Is the ultrasonic clamp meter using both transit time and Doppler technology, or just transit time? And can the meter handle reflections from particles, dirty or aerated liquids?
Yeah, transit time, it's time of flight from the emitter to the receiver. One's going upstream, one's going downstream. It does the math based on the liquid media type that is programmed and its acoustic velocity. And as far as any kind of contaminant matter, even particulate, if it's going to affect that velocity, you know, the sound waves, then that has to be addressed.
Okay. Do you provide a factory calibration certificate along with the meter?
We do not. But that may be another thing that, as Andy had said, if your customers are like, I need this or it's a no-go, if it's a deal breaker, let us know, because that is something that may be very easily available.
We have another comment here about the delivery times being 2 to 4 weeks and seeing that as long. Do you have any comments on why the delivery is 2 to 4 weeks?
It's actually 4 to 6 weeks. And I don't know, long is a relative term, right? It's 4 to 6 weeks. 4 weeks would probably be more common. 6 weeks, we like to be safe, give ourselves a little cushion. But as I said, there are a number of available devices that could ship out within a week, right? It still take a little bit of transit time to get here, but we do have that inventory available. Contact your rep with a desired part number, see if it's on that list. That list is a living, breathing list right now, so we can't say these are the ones we're always going to have. It really is going to depend on the customers and what they're asking for of what we're going to keep in inventory for that fast shipping, right? The ready to go stuff rather than the stuff that we're going to be building in the cell, you know, when orders are requested. So come to your rep with a part number that you're interested in, and we'll obviously give you the best delivery. If it's one of those inventoried items, you're going to see it much faster. If you absolutely need to see it faster, again, talk with your rep and we'll work with you. We'll see where we can get.
Okay. Has there been any testing done with higher viscosity liquid? And if yes, are there any limitations to the max value for viscosity?
They tested thick oil-based. I don't know to exactly what viscosity rating it was at. I can actually look that up and get back to you. So I'll add that to my notes here as well to get back to that email address concerning viscosity, right? Very thick, as long as sound travels through it, right? As long as sound travels through it, we can sense it, right? We can sense the flow rate if you can bounce that sound through that liquid, right? So it all depends on that.
Okay. Do you have pipe straight run section requirements for the meter, and what are they?
They have recommended, right? They have recommended of 1 times the diameter upstream and 10 times the diameter downstream. That's sometimes when your end users are buying it for your primary or secondary water loops, for instance, that might not be too difficult. But when you're putting it into a piece of equipment, we've already found this, that some customers have asked to put this in a piece of equipment that just can't satisfy that 10 times downstream. And again, it's a recommendation. Does it mean it won't work? No, it doesn't mean it won't work. The reason that it's asked to do that is because of cavitation that can happen when you've got a 90-degree or when you've got another instrument in line, like a valve or something in line. That can cause those bubbles, that cavitation. It could cause disruptions in the flow. And with all the calibration settings that are available in this device, just because you don't have 10D, right, downstream, doesn't mean it won't work. It means you have to get it in and try and see. You know, we do have people actually testing it in some tighter space equipment where they didn't have the 10D. So we'll have some answers, you know, some definitive answers. But again, it all depends. It all depends on how much cavitation, how much bubbles it's causing, that type of thing. So it really depends on the application. But the recommended is 1D upstream, 10D down.
Great. Is there a software to be used in order to program the meter?
No, no separate software. You either program it via the keypad, right there at the device, or Modbus communication. You can do it via that protocol, or obviously, like I said before, if there's a gateway that you could use it, program it via Ethernet IP or BACnet or whatever other programming media you're using.
Is data logging available, and can that info be retrieved?
Again, that would have to be on a separate device. West Controls has one of those devices that can do data logging. So you would need a secondary instrument to do the data logging for you. But the outputs that are available via Modbus, right, would allow for that communication to this other device to do your data logging and, you know, all the other things that you can do with that type of instrument.
Okay. Is there a batch controller functionality in the meter? This would be very beneficial. Set up a batch and trigger a relay when the batch is achieved.
Good input there. Again, that would be the same as the data logger, right? We actually have a device called the DataView 8, and I believe we have a DataView 6. Those two devices both have batch functionality as well as data logger. So get with your representative, ask them about the DataView so you can take a look at that product. It does both. And again, the Modbus communication from the XFT would be able to communicate the values that are necessary to do that with the secondary device, the DataView.
Does the small LCD display come out and rotate at a 45-degree intervals?
No, it's only the display rotation isn't a physical rotation, first of all. It's only, you know, it's all digital. And it's in any of the 4 directions that you would find on a square display: left, right, up, down.
Okay. What diagnostic information is available in meter aside from a spot that changes its colors? Can we see SNR or gain number in DB?
I don't see SNR or gain. Signal strength, upstream and downstream, are both available. Again, that was something that I was looking for before in the menu, and I couldn't, and I'm still unable to find that page. There are several pages. The user manual is 35 pages long, and that's because of all of the parameter settings that are involved, as well as all of the Modbus communication. It's all in one document. So, but yes, that is the signal strength is the information that of quality information that you can get.
All right. When the unit is password protected, does it lock the user out of all the functions of the unit?
No, the password will lock out just the advanced calibration settings.
Okay. Is the top meter part the same no matter the model number, and only the clamp part is different, dispensing on pipe size selected?
Correct.
Okay. Is this only push button programmable, or is there software available to program? Roadmap for IO Link capable?
Roadmap for IO Link is a very good question. Let me start there. That is another thing that, as Andy had spoke about earlier, if that's something that's being asked for, and not even if it's a deal breaker, if people are just showing interest, that's important to us, because we do have IO Link products that we're currently developing right now. IO Link is a communication standard that we are going to pursue. We know that it is relevant and important in industrial applications, and so we are throwing our hat in that ring. We do have some products right now in development, as I said, that are going to include IO Link, and if that is something that is being asked about, even whispered, definitely tell your rep, let them tell us, and we will use that information moving forward. Now, what was the other part of that question? I'm sorry.
Is this only push button programmable, or is there software?
No, no software, just push button, or if you have something that can communicate via Modbus, or you use a gateway, you can do it on your laptop using that gateway, to communicate it via the communication protocol. And the good thing is that's not something you have to order separately. Modbus is inherent to that circuit board in the device. You don't have to say, I want one with Modbus. Automatically comes there, automatically has the programming functionality. You just got to hook up another Modbus device to it, and then you can start talking.
Great, thank you. We do have a couple more questions, but I wanted to route back to the IO link question. We do have Bryant Creer online with us today, and I believe he had a few comments about that as well. If you want to come off mute, Bryant.
No, I like Dennis said, it's been prevalent within the industry, or it's starting to be prevalent. If you got any feedback, any comments, any type of information that can be passed on, because as Diamond Channel Partners, you are our eyes and ears to the markets. So any information you can provide back to Dennis and the rest of the team on the requirements for IO Link and any other certifications, any of that that's been previously mentioned by Dennis, please get that back. Try to quantify it a little bit, as far as what you're looking at the market. Is it 20% of the market requires it? Is it 50%? Is it 100%? Provide that information, and we'll be able to utilize that as a company to go through and help align this and make it an ultimate fit for your customers. That's all I wanted to mention.
Great, thanks, Bryant. All right, we have a handful of questions left. We'll try to wrap this up in the last 3 minutes. Hold on. Is the unit single patch or multi-patch?
Single patch or multi-patch? Is that what the question was?
Yes.
Not familiar with the term, but I do know that if I'm wrong, we could follow up an email later, right? But there are ultrasonic flow meters that have several different pairs of emitters and receivers. Those are often used in larger diameter pipes where you'll see a big donut, and then it has the emitter and receivers around that. If that's what they're referring to, this is just a single, okay? It did not require, because it's the smaller diameter piping, it did not require more than one. I hope I answered the question there, but I'm not familiar with the term.
Okay. What is the accuracy spec for flow measurement?
Plus minus 2% of full scale. It's an anomaly, but it has jumped to the whole 3%. But the common, consistent, within plus or minus 2%.
All right. Can you set up customer pipe and liquid configuration at the factory and ship calibrated?
Yes, I'll say yes. That is something, though, that would require, I'm guessing, some volume, right? For it to be anything except for the stock configurations that are listed there, if you would like it custom set up in any way, that is possible. Customization has been done, but it would have obviously required some volume and the right opportunity. Andy might be able to speak to that further, but if you're wanting one and you're wanting it programmed special, I'm thinking that that's going to be in the user's responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to be pretty hands-off with the calibration. As Dennis keeps saying, we definitely kind of leave it up to you because there's so many variables. We just can't account for everything. So, 99% of the time, we're going to want you to do it. However, though, if you come in and say, hey, high volumes, big customer, obviously, the higher the volumes or, the more interesting it is, that definitely drives if there is a conversation about it. So by default, no, we're very unlikely to do any calibration on site for it, but, obviously take it up with your, business partners, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, that would also go for basic parameter settings too. If it's somewhere they don't want to get any in-depth calibration, but they just want your main settings to be preset at the factory before shipped out. Sure, it's possible, but again, it's probably going to be, how many you want, right? Because again, doing that for just one doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's a whole lot of effort for onesie, twosie pieces, right?
Great. All right, we have 2 more questions here. Are the ultrasonic sensors the same no matter the pipe size chosen in the model number?
Yes. Now, when you order it via pipe size, right, it is meant to work for that pipe size, right? But any parameters can be changed. So there is a default setup, obviously, right? But you can go in there and you can change that default setup. Obviously, then nobody can guarantee accuracy. We've said it a million times that every application is unique, regardless of how it's ordered or how you get it. Even if you order it and let's say you've got a 3/8" PVC pipe, you're doing it with just straight water with no bubbles, and it meets all the parameters perfectly. It is still possible, because again, based on the application, that you're going to get it in and you're still going to need to change a setting or two. So that being said, yes, but there are risks and everything if in fact you're changing the calibration from something you originally ordered.
Great. And our last question today is the manual available to download?
Yeah, there's actually going to be 2 manuals. There's a full manual, which is, like I said, is a 35-page exhaustive manual, but there's also a quick start guide for commissioning the device. I had said before too, and we're working on them now, we're going to have instruction videos, installation and commission and programming. We don't have any advanced programming thing. It's just your basic how to set it up. Those will be available as well. We'll be sending you all updates and links as those are available. Right now, we do have some promotional as well as technical documentation that your reps already have access to, so we can have those sent out to you via their email or whatever.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dennis and Andy. Sorry, I just combined your names.
That's great.
This was very insightful today, and like we mentioned earlier, we will send the recording to everyone that is registered.
Very good. Yes, thanks everyone. Thank you for attending, and be on the lookout for follow-up emails to some of the questions that we have here, as well as the downloadable on-demand link if you wanted to take any time and pause on any specific pages to read into it a little bit further. And again, email your rep or call your rep with any questions you have. Those will filter down to Andy and myself, and we're happy to answer any questions that we're able to. Thank you much.
Thank you.